Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired cook from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest video. And in this one I'll be making this delicious coffee and walnut cake. You can view the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on the channel's website. I'll leave a link in the description under the video, or you can click on the eye icon top right of the screen to take you directly to the recipe page. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a quick shout out to this week's Patreon and PayPal donators, and they are Sarah Parker, Ian Taylor, Suzanne Krause, Thomas G. Norden, Paul Baugermill, Neil Santos, John Wilson, Douglas Worrell and Hans Koenig. Thanks again guys, I really do appreciate all your support. And with that out of the way, let's get on with today's recipe. Okay, for this recipe, the first thing you'll need is 2 sandwich cake tins, and the dimensions of the tins are on screen. And you'll need to grease both tins. I'm using a little butter, and then you need to line them with parchment or greaseproof paper as shown. And for belt and braces, I like to grease the top of the parchment paper too. Before starting the recipe, preheat your oven to 190 degrees Celsius, that's 375 Fahrenheit or gas mark 5. First job is to prepare the coffee. Now I'll be using my cafetiere or French press to make my concentrated coffee solution using ground coffee for a better flavour. You can however use instant or espresso powder, in which case you'd need a couple of teaspoons dissolved in 20 ml of boiling water, and you'll need 2 of those, one for the cake batter and one for the whipped cream filling. And this is a good time to point out my first sponsor, so I'd like to give Trade Coffee a big thank you for sponsoring this video. At the moment this service only applies to my USA viewers. If you struggle to find the perfect coffee at the grocery store, Trade solves this problem by connecting you to new coffees from the nation's top roasters. And they also deliver directly to your door, so you'll never have to go without your morning coffee again. How it works. Step 1. Take the quiz. Tell Trade how you like your coffee and they'll curate matches just for you. Step 2. Choose your delivery frequency and it'll appear at your doorstep fresh from the roaster. Step 3. Rate your matches so Trade can continue to delight you with the coffees you'll absolutely love. Now Trade is giving the first 100 people who click the link below 30% off your first bag. They did send me some samples and I can honestly say it is absolutely fantastic coffee. Oh, it's good. And now back to the recipe. The coffee's been in the French press now for about 4 minutes, and all I've got to do now is push down the plunger and measure off 2 20 ml measurements, one for the cake batter and one for the whipped cream. When it comes to the cream filling, you can taste a little to see if the coffee flavour is strong enough for you, and out of experience I know this is the right strength for us. Now on to mixing the cake batter. Start with creaming the butter and sugar together. This part is made much easier if your butter is soft, to the point where it holds its shape but not melted. So make sure your butter is taken out of the fridge at least 2 hours before making the batter. Right, I'll add that to the bowl, followed by the caster sugar, and I'll mix those two together using a spatula. And if you check out my Victoria sponge video, I'll show you how to make your own caster sugar. There'll be a link in the description box below the video. In real time this takes about 3 to 4 minutes by hand, but you can use a stand or a hand mixer if you wish. Now continue creaming these together until it's light in colour and texture and very smooth. Okay, once you get to this point, start adding the eggs, but not all together. Add them one at a time, whisking each one in until it's light and creamy. I explain a lot more about this process in the Victoria sponge video. Right, I'll let you watch a while I beat in the eggs. This part also took around 4 minutes in real time. Even if you're using a machine, add the eggs one at a time. Next ingredient to go in is the teaspoon of vanilla extract, and whisk that in. And the final liquid is your concentrated coffee solution. Your mix will probably go a little grainy when you add the coffee, but don't worry, it'll smooth out again once you add the flour. Time to sift in the flour and baking powder. Now, as the ingredient list states, I'm using self-raising flour, which already contains some baking powder. But if you're using plain or all-purpose flour, you need to add an extra 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's 4 teaspoons or 16 grams in total. Sifting the flour does add a little air to the mix, but the main reason is to filter out the large bits of baking powder. Now just push those through with your fingers. OK, using your spatula again, gently fold this all together until you have a smooth, light and airy batter. Now equally divide the batter into the 2 prepared baking tins. I like to weigh mine rather than eyeball them. And if your measurements are correct, you should have very close to 430 grams, that's 15.2 ounces in each tin. And look at that, just about spot on. There will be slight variations depending on the size of eggs used. OK, level off the batter using an offset spatula, or like me, the back of a dessert spoon. Now before they go in the oven, give the tins a couple of taps on the bench to level it off a bit and to remove any of the larger air bubbles. Now get them into the preheated oven and set your timer for 20 minutes. And while those are baking, I hope you don't mind if I give my very first recipe book a bit of a plug. The book has lots of our favourite recipes from our work kitchens in it, and is available in the channel's website shop, along with loads of other equipment I use in the videos. It's just another way you can support the channel. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video, or just click on the eye icon top right of your screen if you want to order a copy today. OK, while the sponges are baking, I'll get on with making the coffee whipped cream. And FYI, this job can be done well in advance and kept in the fridge until needed. First, I'll add the cream cheese to the bowl. I'm using a mascarpone cream cheese. It has a creamier and richer flavour, but if all you can get is plain cream cheese, that'll do too. Next, add the cream. Now you can use double cream, heavy cream or whipping cream, and gently blend those together. Don't use light or single cream, it won't work. Now add the icing or powdered sugar, followed by the vanilla extract and the concentrated coffee solution. Right, blend those together until everything's amalgamated, then start whisking. And this job too can be done using a hand or a stand mixer. But not everyone is fortunate enough to have a machine, so I'll be demonstrating this by hand. Besides, it's a good workout. Keep going until you have soft peaks. Keep a close eye on it at this stage, as you can go too far pretty quickly. If you do go too far and it's very stiff, you can rescue it by adding a couple of tablespoons of cream or milk. And once again, in real time, this took about 4 minutes by hand, but it does go a bit quicker using a machine. Right, that's that job done and out of the way, so I'll cover it and get it into the fridge. And to cut down on the use of plastic wrap, this is another great use for my shower cap. Also available in the website shop, along with loads of other stuff I use in the videos. It's just another way you can support the channel. And the time's up on the sponges in the oven. I'll check each one with a wooden skewer. If it comes out clean, they're done. If not, give them 2 more minutes, then check them again. But don't open the oven door before the 20 minutes are up, or I guarantee they'll sink in the middle due to the sudden drop in temperature. Okay, mine's done, so I'll get them out and onto a wire rack and let them rest and cool for 10 minutes before removing them from the tins. Right, it's now been 10 minutes since they came out of the oven, so I'll get them out of the baking tins. If you followed the instructions, when greasing the tins, they will pop straight out, as you can see. And because I greased the top of the parchment paper too, it's still in the tin. And if your parchment paper is now stuck to the bottom of the cake, just gently peel it off. Now these are still pretty warm at this point, so I'll let them completely cool before adding the whipped cream filling. Okay, the sponges are completely cool now, so I'll start adding the coffee cream to the middle and top of the cake. Now take one of your sponges and place it in the centre of a large serving plate, or in my case a pretty cake stand, placing the top side down. And that way you have a completely level surface to work on. Right, take half of your cream and spread it out on the sponge as shown. Now you can use an offset spatula to do this, or like I'm doing, the back of a dessert spoon. Stay shy of the edge all the way around, because when the top sponge is added, it will spread out a little more. Once the cream is evenly spread, carefully place the top sponge on, top side up this time. Take care to line it up with the bottom sponge and lightly press it down. Right, so far so good. Time to add the rest of the coffee flavoured cream all over the top of the cake. You can go right to the edges this time. Take your time and make sure it's evenly spread. Almost done, and it's now time to add the walnut pieces. Now place them all over the top surface, gently pressing them into the cream. Don't just chuck them on haphazard, place them carefully. Take a bit of time over this, making sure you fill all the gaps. Because presentation is very important too. And if you're not keen on walnuts, flaked almonds is a good alternative to use. Once all the nuts are in place, the cake is ready to serve. Okay, now it's time to try a slice of this wonderful cake. It cuts very easily, and it feels very spongy and light. Smells absolutely delicious too. Such a nice looking cake and very easy to make. And here we go. That subtle coffee flavour is not too strong or bitter. The texture of the sponge is light and airy. It is absolutely delicious, and I really hope you try it. And this one definitely gets a big thumbs up. Don't forget, Trade Coffee will give the first 100 people to click the link below the video 30% off your first bag of coffee, and that includes free shipping. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in the kitchen and bye for now.